Now, the Dean of Cornell University's Business School, India-born Soumitra Dutta, has spoken out against government interference in the functioning of institutions like the IIMs, saying they should be allowed to flourish on their own. In an interview to NDTV, the IIT alumnus says the government's plan of setting up too many IITs too fast will lower their brand value if the faculty and infrastructure are not in place.
Talking about the role that governments need to play especially in developing countries like India, I have to talk to you as the dean of one of the world's topmost business schools on the role that a government needs to play as far as the education system is concerned. A lot is talked about the fact that the Indian education system, especially higher education, needs reform, needs rejuvenation. At the same time, right now, you are an IIT product yourself. The government on one hand is talking about setting up 8 new IITs. And at the same time, there is a debate that's going on around the role the government should play in premier institutes like the IIMs, the Indian Institute of Management, where a new IIM bill is talking about perhaps giving more control to the government, more power to the government and less autonomy. Your thoughts on the way the government should move forward on this?
If you have the government interfering, it's not very conducive. If you have the government putting limits in terms of what you can charge students, what you can actually pay to faculty members, what you can do in terms of other investments, you are limiting the ability to compete in the global market. Talent today is a global market, and that's something that we need to realize.
So you would not favor, for instance, the new IIM bill, which in many ways does talk about some of these things and in many ways gives more powers to the government in interfering with the functioning of these premier institutes?
I think governments have a role in setting them up,
right,
and then letting them flourish on their own.
Right.
So I think they would not be probably set up as easily, the government, and set them up in the first stage. And so the government is doing the right thing by probably creating more, but too many too fast will only lower the quality because the faculty infrastructure, the talent infrastructure is not yet there. And if you don't have the talent infrastructure in place, you risk putting the brand of these institutions at, lowering the brand value of the institutions, and that's, I think, something to be very careful about.
So you would not favor 8 more IITs, being an IIT product yourself?
I would favor them if
right,
the government had a clear plan for putting the faculty research strength in place, putting the infrastructure for all the laboratories and all the other essential elements of learning in place before or at the same time as it is announced.
Right.
So it has to be done in parallel. You cannot just open one building and wait for the faculty to develop, because this takes a long time. And we have a problem of faculty capability and research strength in many leading institutions in India, which needs to be reinforced.